Welcome back, Jeremy Fragrance here, the #1 fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus. I'm just messing you guys, it is FB Fragrances, it's your boy Finn. This video is a very important one because your boy just went on his first major influencer trip. I just spent the past week or two in Dubai with a whole bunch of influencers, and you guessed it, one of them was Jeremy Fragrance. And I think he's rubbed off on me, guys. I mean, he's got me dressing up, he's got me doing impressions, I'm wearing a white shirt. I'm scared for what my future is looking like. On the table behind me is over 20 recent fragrance pickups. Most of these were in Dubai. I may have gone a little spending crazy, guys, and full disclosure, most of these are from Middle Eastern clone brands like Lattafa, Qaed, Rift, Afnan, Amouage. In Dubai, they had everything. Most of these you would have heard of. I'm going to rate all of them from 1 to 10. I haven't spent a lot of time with these fragrances since I only so recently picked them up. So this is going to be more of a speed rating kind of first impressions video. And then if there are any of these particular fragrances you want a more in-depth review on, comment down below and I'll see what I can do for you guys. There are so many freaking fragrances right here behind me. I don't even know where to start. But one thing I'm going to promise you is I'm going to be saving the 2 best recent fragrance pickups for last. So make sure to stick around till the end of this video. If at any point during the video you do find yourself enjoying it, please make sure to like and subscribe so you see my content every single day. The first recent fragrance pickup I have chosen is Maison Margiela's by the Fireplace. Tragically here, it had a little spill, guys. It had a little accident in the restroom and it got some by the fireplace on the by the fireplace bottle. How does it smell? It smells like my childhood, roasting toasted marshmallows by the campfire with my grandparents out in the countryside farm where I used to live in Melbourne, Australia. Such a delicious fragrance. It's not going to be for everyone. It is incredibly smoky. To me, it just smells like it smells a little bit caramelly, but mostly you get a big dose of vanilla and smokiness. If you don't like smoky fragrances, you are not going to like this one. Definitely not blind buy safe, but for the right person, like myself, you or me, we're going to freaking love it. I'll personally give this one an 8 out of 10. I wish the performance was better. And I also think for an EDT fragrance, Maison Margiela charges way too much money for these ones. Rayhaan Elixir. You may have seen on my TikTok and Instagram reels, I did a video with the huge TikTok influencer called Noel Thomas, who is super well known over there for absolutely glazing this fragrance to make a bit of that commission money. However, my review, I was not paid a dime by Rayhaan. I was completely honest, and if I am being totally honest with you guys, if you like Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir, you are gonna freaking love this thing. Because the harsh reality is, whether you wanna believe me or not, it smells 99% similar to Le Male Elixir. It is one of the closest clones I have ever tried. What is a shame though, is that I don't even like Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir. If you watch me, you know I prefer pretty much any other Jean Paul Gaultier fragrance over the smell of Le Male Elixir. So it is really hard for me to actually rate this fragrance out of 10 in terms of how good of a clone it is, with how close it smells to Le Male Elixir and how solid the performance is. I've got to give it like a 9.5 out of 10, but how it actually smells is like a 6 or a 7. So I'm going to compromise and give this an 8.5 out of 10. No commission aside, no TikTok commission BS. This is just genuinely a solid fragrance, and that's just the truth of it. You probably know how much I love and talk about Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, so I was very excited to be actually gifted this fragrance by Mont Blanc right before I left for Dubai, and I've just been waiting to talk about it. It is Mont Blanc Legend Blue Parfum. Kind of actually almost exactly matches the suit. However, this isn't a fragrance. Personally, I would wear with a suit. This one I have mixed feelings about. I'm still trying to work out if I like it or don't like it. Smell wise, it is hard not to like. It's just soapy, fresh, and clean. It smells like you literally had a bubble bath or had a shower where you literally just sat in there for an hour, used a ton of soap, and then hopped straight out. You would smell like how this fragrance smells. It's essentially a woody, citrusy, aquatic fragrance. But I guess the selling point of it is that it's very, very affordable, but it is actually a lot stronger than what you would expect from a Mont Blanc fragrance. Although I do think Legend Spirit by Mont Blanc smells better than this, the performance of this is undeniably better. This one you're getting 6 to 7 strong hours of longevity with moderate projection. Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, it's like 4 to 5 hours with weak projection. So I would recommend trying both. This one does cost a bit more than Legend Spirit. Personally, I'm still wearing Legend Spirit 9 times out of 10, but I do think this is a solid release, and the reviews on Fragrantica are backing that up. In terms of a final rating, right now I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. This next fragrance, let me just tell you, is going to be a lot higher than a 7 out of 10. Cremo Spice and Black Vanilla. This was hyped up about 2 years on TikTok a lot, and it's kind of died down for some reason. I own 4, look at this atomizer by the way. I own 4 Cremo fragrances, but this one is by far the best. It has just landed in Australia. I'm going to link to where you can buy it in Australia down below in case you're interested. I don't make any commission. I'm just informing you guys. This smells like Spice Bomb Extreme for $30 US or about 50 Australian dollars. It's just great value for money. It's a little bit more peppery and spicy actually than Spice Bomb in my opinion, but it still does have a nice dose of vanilla and some woodiness as well. I think you can use this all year round. Because it's so cheap, I have no problem just spraying it on basically whenever I want to wear a fragrance, but I can't decide on what to wear. It smells honestly awesome. It's probably a little bit more soapy than Spice Bomb actually, but considering how cheap this is and the quality of what you're getting for how cheap it is, it's essentially a robbery. Rating out of 10, because of how good value for money it is, I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this one. Serge De Lutens, Eclin de Fumé. This was very kindly gifted by the brand. Straight off the bat, I thought it was almost exactly the same as Parfum's Damali Carlisle or something like Mancera Red Tobacco, but after actually wearing this a few times, I realized that I actually prefer this over both of those fragrances. In terms of an actual note breakdown, this fragrance is actually very complex. It's boozy, but it also has a chocolatey cacao note and a big dose of vanilla. It does smell like Parfum's Damali Carlisle, but the chocolate in the dry down is so freaking beautiful. Performance wise, it's not super strong. It lasts a long time, around 12 hours, but then the projection is very, very soft on my skin. Similar performance to most Initio fragrances, long lasting, but weak projection. If you want a complex, unique, masculine, and just a fragrance that is going to make you stand out from pretty much everyone around you, definitely check this stuff out. Not blind buy safe, but I think it would appeal to a very certain type of person, and that type of person would absolutely adore this fragrance. For me, I'm still learning to love it, but I do really, really like it. I'm going to give it an 8.2 out of 10. Lattafa Yara Candy. Lattafa Yara is super hyped up on social media. This one is an even more gourmand version of it. I'm not even going to spray this stuff on a tester strip because I don't want the smell of it lurking in my room. And that should tell you everything you need to know about this fragrance. To me, it smells like powdered strawberry sherbet, overly sweet, extremely synthetic. I think the only reason you'd want to buy this fragrance is if maybe you're like 16-year-old girl in high school that just wants to smell annoyingly loud and bubblegummy. It is a woman's fragrance. I don't like this at all. I think the bottle looks decent, but everything about it, from the cap, the atomizer, the smell, is just cheap. It's just a cheap fragrance. I don't like this stuff. 4 out of 10. But one Lattafa fragrance I do like is Lattafa Asad. I got this a couple weeks before the Dubai trip. You may have seen on YouTube, I have talked about it a bunch. Yes, it does smell like Dior Sauvage Elixir, but without the overly masculine kind of oomph to it, which some people are actually going to prefer. Like myself, I think this does smell better than Sauvage Elixir. And then some people are going to find that it's lacking in power compared to Sauvage Elixir. I feel like it just kind of depends on your preferences and your nose. The best way for me to describe this is go and smell Dior Sauvage Elixir and then picture that, but without kind of like the licoricey barbershop feel and more added vanilla and slightly more freshness. It is about 85% close. So if you do like Sauvage Elixir, you will like this. And if you don't like Sauvage Elixir, chances are you won't like this. This also isn't quite as strong as Sauvage Elixir, but when this is $30 and Sauvage Elixir is $200, that really shouldn't be a surprise. I still do pull about 8 hours longevity with moderate projection, so nothing to complain about. I think this does clone it really well, but personally, it's just not my type of scent, so I'm going to give it a 7.8 out of 10. One of my favorite pickups of this month is this fragrance right here, and it is because it is my first ever Issey Miyake fragrance. It was very kindly gifted to me by them. It feels like every other fragrance I'm talking about I was gifted, and you know that I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for you guys giving me the opportunity to have these brands reach out to me, and it's just super humbling, man. But enough with the sappy BS. Issey Miyake Lisseldisi. I think this is a new 2024 release. It is freaking awesome. It smells like Nautica Voyage on steroids. It costs a bit more than Nautica Voyage, but actually the smell of Nautica Voyage I don't mind at all. This kind of does have that salty, cucumber, green, slightly spicy vibe that Nautica Voyage has, but it's just even more uplifting. You can tell the quality and the blend is of higher quality, and the performance is much better as well. If you're looking for the dream gym fragrance, this is it. I've been wearing this so much to the gym. It even has a chance of replacing Mont Blanc Legend Spirit as my signature gym fragrance. If you live in a super hot country like Australia and you want something that feels like a refreshing shower, get this. If you want a great gym fragrance, get this. This is solid stuff. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. Whilst I was over in Dubai, I had the opportunity to experience and kind of engage with a whole bunch of new brands that I'd never heard of before. And this fragrance right here is from a brand that I only discovered in Dubai. It is Grand Noir, and this fragrance is called Tribal Intense. It is a fantastic clone, actually, of Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau Le Parfum. Two clones of Le Beau Le Parfum that I tried in Dubai was this one here, Tribal Intense, and Qaed Island, which is one you've probably heard of more than this. That one is all over TikTok right now. Both were fantastic, but this one honestly holds up super, super well to Qaed Island and even the original Le Beau Le Parfum. I get about 85% closeness to Le Beau Le Parfum with this. Performance though is kind of the one drawback, and it makes me hesitant to recommend it. I only pull about 4 hours longevity actually with this, and it's kind of like that clone fragrance curse. You spray it on and you're like, damn, this is strong, great value for money. And then you smell yourself 2 or 3 hours later and you're like, where did all that juicy, sexy goodness go? I just spent $30 on a fragrance that lasts 3 hours. You know? But just off how good the smell is alone and how cheap this fragrance is, I've still got to give it a 7 out of 10. It is just a shame with how kind of doo-doo the performance is. I'm sorry, buddy. But it is damn close. It is damn close to Le Beau Le Parfum. Another fragrance that I got actually right before Dubai, and that I have talked about here on my YouTube channel, Maison Alhambra Eternal Touch, formerly known as Tobacco Touch. And then Maison Alhambra obviously got sued or something by Tom Ford, and they had to change it. They changed the bottle, they changed the name, but the juice is the same. Damn, that was a cool rhyme. So, as you may have guessed already, this is a clone of Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. Does it get close? Kind of. The vibe's there, but it's not as good as I've kind of come to expect with Maison Alhambra clones. This one to me smells like a vanilla spicy chai latte, whereas Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille smells like a spice cabinet with smooth tobacco and vanilla. I don't get a lot of tobacco at all in this fragrance. I don't know if they've used any. If you like kind of the smell and taste of a chai latte though, this might just be your new favorite fragrance. And me, I happen to love chai lattes, so I do love this fragrance. Not as much as the real Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille, but considering how dirt cheap this thing is, I believe it's like 30 Aussie dollars and 30 US dollars, I've got to give it an 8 out of 10. This fragrance was kindly gifted to me in Dubai by Afnan themselves. I believe it's a new release, not as new as the new Afnan 9pm Rebel, which is in a red bottle. Looks so cool. I've heard that is amazing. I wish I could have tried it, but I didn't extend my stay. I was invited for the launch party, guys. I swear. I just said no, and I regret it. This one here, though, I have Afnan Supremacy in Oud down in my cupboard. Great fragrance. It's a clone of Initio's Oud for greatness. This one, I don't know if it's a clone of anything. It has Creed Aventus vibes, but I low-key do prefer the smell of this over Creed Aventus. It's a fruity, leathery fragrance, less citrusy than Creed Aventus. There's just something about the dry down though that just kind of doesn't work with my skin. It's too kind of musky. That's the best way to explain it. The opening though is incredible. I do think still this is a fantastic fragrance, and the performance is solid. If you like Creed Aventus, this is still worth a try. There's just two things holding me back. It's that kind of musky dry down, and also the fact that it is quite expensive. I believe it's around 100 Aussie dollars. And for a fragrance from a company that's known for doing clones, that's known for, you know, being cheap and providing still high quality, this one's kind of pushing the boundaries of a cheap fragrance. I would say this is kind of getting closer to that mid-end. So, rating's tricky. I'm gonna go with a 7.5 out of 10 for now, but that could change in the future, either up or down. Please cut me some slack on this next kind of fragrance speed review, because this literally arrived in the mail yesterday. Bulgari Man in Black. And I'd heard so many good things about it. I heard it was such an underrated kind of evening mature scent. And yes, it kind of is. But there's one issue, and that the issue is that on my skin in the dry down, you guys aren't gonna believe me, it kind of has like a raw, fishy type of smell. And I think it is just my skin, because I couldn't find anyone else on any review sites complaining about that type of smell. So I am worried it is just kind of a skin chemistry issue. So I feel bad kind of bashing on the fragrance. However, the opening and how it smells on these tester strips is incredible. It's smoky, it's vanilla heavy. Reminds me a tiny bit of By the Fireplace, but I actually think it smells a little bit better on the tester strip. But again, just for some reason, guys, for some reason on my skin, the leather's there, the vanilla's there, the smokiness is there, but then there's that weird fishy smell. I feel like it sounds like I'm gatekeeping right now, but I swear on my life, that's how it is. And I just don't think I'm going to be able to wear it because of that. However, I still want you guys to try it, because I am just kind of convinced it's a me issue and not a fragrance issue. I have to give it like a 6 out of 10 just because of that. But I still want you guys to try it, because on the tester strip, it smells great. And if you have the skin chemistry for this fragrance, I could see it being really good. I picked up this fragrance at the start of October. So this fragrance pickup was actually from a while ago. Amouage Material, my first ever Amouage fragrance. Since this one, I actually also had this one sent to me by Amouage Royal Tobacco. I don't want to talk about this one though, because quite simply, I really don't like how it smells. I just feel like I need to grow into this fragrance. I can tell, you know, it's very well made. I can tell the ingredients are very high quality. So I don't feel comfortable talking negatively about this fragrance in detail. I'm going to come back to this one in like 5 years and talk about how good it is. But me, I'm only 21. This type of fragrance does not suit me yet. But this one is one that I wear occasionally and I do enjoy. Amouage Material, it's a very balsamic, incensey vanilla amber fragrance. Picture kind of Grand Soir or even Initio Absolute Aphrodisiac. I feel like it definitely has very similar vibes to both of those fragrances. And I love both of those fragrances, so it's really no surprise that I really enjoy this one. To me, it smells most similar to Initio Absolute Aphrodisiac, but if it had its own kind of Middle Eastern twist, you would get this fragrance. Personally, maybe 5 times out of 7, I'm choosing the Initio, but this is still solid, and since I bought it, I have worn it 3 or 4 times. Projection and longevity as well are not to be messed with. This thing is a powerhouse. Very, very strong. In terms of rating, I'm going to go with an 8.6 out of 10. I really, really like this fragrance. And then Royal Tobacco, you guys can roast me in the comments. I'm going to come back to it in a few years. Whilst I was in Dubai at the Lattafa booth at Beauty World, there was a 3-level booth. Clearly Lattafa, guys, has a lot of money. They're doing pretty well for themselves, because in the Dubai Beauty World event, they had essentially built themselves a small 3-leveled house full of Lattafa perfumes. And one that the brand owner introduced me to was this one here, Qaed Al Fursan. And to be quite honest, this might be the best pineapple fragrance I have ever tried. At first, I was like, this is probably just going to be a Creed Aventus clone. But no, picture Creed Aventus, but you removed the leathery part of it. You made it a little bit less citrusy, and instead, you just added all the pineapple. You made Creed Aventus, but with 5 times more pineapple and a very tropical vibe. It smells like a mix of, it smells like one of those kind of breakfast juices that you can buy. So a mix of orange, pineapple, mango. I think in the note breakdown, it is just pineapple. But to me, it smells like a mixture. If any of you guys have smelled Mind Games Blockade, although Mind Games Blockade is mango based and this is pineapple based, I do get a lot of similarities with those two. I would almost say this is actually a clone of Mind Games Blockade. Only downside is the performance is very weak, but for how cheap this thing is, only around 30 or 40 bucks, it is still fantastic. In terms of value for money, I'm actually going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Today might be National Lattafa Day because we got another one that I picked up at the booth. Lattafa, His Confessions. I promise guys, I didn't just pick it up because of the bottle. But let's be for real. The bottle is the reason I even noticed and tried this fragrance in the first place. This might be the craziest bottle design I've ever seen. There's some kind of Roman god on the top. Does it travel well? No. This was extremely painfully difficult to get from my suitcase back safe in Australia, but we managed to do it without it breaking. However, fun fact, out of the 20 fragrances that I did bring back, another Lattafa did break, and that was Art of Nature 2, a clone of Parfum Altair. So if you guys want a review of that fragrance, you're not gonna get it, because the only time I smelt it was when it exploded in my suitcase. But for the record, my suitcase does smell like Parfum Altair now, so it's a win-lose. But this fragrance, Lattafa His Confessions, it is very, very new. No one's really talking about it. It is a powdery iris fragrance, but it is more wearable than something like Dior Homme Intense. Apparently, according to the limited reviews there is about this fragrance, it's a mix of Givenchy Pie and Dior Homme Intense. It's that kind of vibe. Personally, I've never smelled Givenchy Pie, so this fragrance is difficult for me to kind of talk about. I guess just smelling it now, I'm just getting a lot of vanilla, kind of a woody element, and then a lot of iris. I don't know, Valentino One More Intense could be a decent comparison. However, I have worn this on skin once for a full day and the performance was very, very average. After about 5 hours, it was gone. And then projection as well. I used 5 sprays and I just felt like it was really lacking in the projection department. If you want it for the bottle, go get it, because that's why I bought it. But if you want it because it's a great fragrance, I don't know. It smells good. If you like iris sweet fragrances, it might be worth a try. I just need to spend more time with it. Off first impressions, I'm going to go with a 7.2 out of 10. One more fragrance to go, and then we have the 2 that I'm saving for last that I promised at the start of the video. The 2 best. But this one here is still pretty freaking good. Valentino the Gold, the newest Born in Roma Valentino release. How does this one differ from the other Born in Romas, and is it actually worth getting, or is it redundant in the Born in Roma line? Well, my take on it is, it differentiates itself just enough for it to not be redundant. And that's kind of the story with all the Born in Romas. They are all very, very similar to each other, except Green Extravaganza. I would say because of the coffee note, that one's an exception. This to me just is a really nice blend of vanilla and amber with the Born in Roma DNA kind of slotted in. The opening is the most different from the other Born in Romas. I would say if you own Born in Roma Intense, it is not worth getting this. But the other Born in Romas are different enough from this, where if you own both, I wouldn't say it's completely purposeless or redundant. But to me, this does smell about 70% similar to Valentino Born in Roma Intense, but actually with a little bit stronger performance in my opinion, so that's a nice plus. The bottle as well is really cool. If it is on fragrance discounters already, this could be worth picking up, but I wouldn't say it's like an amazing fragrance. I'm going to give it a 7.8 out of 10. On to the 2 that I talked about at the start of the video. 2 straight bangers. We have got Kilian's Angel Share. The story about how I got this fragrance, I don't know if I could actually tell it. I'm gonna tell it in some detail and you guys are gonna keep quiet. So I got flown out to Dubai by a brand. I'm not sure if I can say who. I don't really know. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And the owners of this brand happen to be, they're obviously quite wealthy people. Their brand's doing pretty well. They come from a wealthy Dubai family. So I get to the mall with the other influencers. I was there with Scent Mike, who makes TikTok videos, and Marcel from Spain. I'm not sure if you've heard of any of those guys, but they make great content. So we get to Dubai Mall, and we're all discussing fragrances like we would buy if we had enough money, and like, they're just too expensive, but they smell great, and we're like, yeah, Angel Share, Louis Vuitton, whatever. And then the guy that flew us out just comes up to us and goes, like, hey, you 3, you have 5 minutes, go choose any fragrance in this mall, and I will buy it for you. And I'm looking at him like, nah, you're fucking nuts. Like, you're kidding, right? He's like, no, I'm not. You've got 5 minutes. Starts the timer. First thing that comes to my mind is this 100 ml of Angel Share. So I run over to the Kilian boutique, which is like a 2-minute walk away. I grab Angel Share, and then I almost leave the boutique with the bottle, and I'm like, crap, that'd be stealing. So I have to call the guy over to come buy it for me, and he ends up buying me this bottle for free of Angel Share. So that was a great start to my Dubai trip. This stuff is incredible. I have a lot of dupes of it. I have Kismet Angel, Lattafa Kamra. But there's just nothing like the real thing. This performs better than both of those clone fragrances. I think it might be a bit of a bias, but the fact it's in a Kilian's bottle, it just makes it smell better. I don't know, it sounds shallow, sounds stupid, but it just makes it smell better. This is a 9.5 out of 10. Boozy, praline, vanilla, cinnamon, smells like a baked pastry good in a bottle. So freaking delicious. I love this stuff. Would I have this bottle in my collection if it was me paying for it? Probably not. I don't think it'd be worth buying for me, but since I got it for free. When you get something for free, it just makes everything sweeter. 9.5 out of 10. The second fragrance that I promised I would save till the end is this one right here. You may have already seen my review of it on TikTok. It is Louis Vuitton Pacific Chill. The story of how I got this isn't quite as exciting and intense and surprising as the story of how I got the Kilian Angel Share, but I will tell it nonetheless. This was also from Dubai. It was the last day. I'd been debating in my head if I wanted to spend the 550 Aussie dollars on this fragrance. And, you know, I got to the end of the Dubai trip, and I go on my TikTok, and I see that the Cologne boy, who you've almost certainly heard of, just bought 200ml of Louis Vuitton Imagination from the Dubai mall. And I was like, I've got 2 hours till my flight. This is a sign for me to go and buy my first Louis Vuitton. So I raced over to the Dubai mall, straight to the Louis Vuitton booth. I knew which one I wanted. This is by far my favorite Louis Vuitton. And I asked the lady, do you have stock of this? She said, let me go check. So there I was while she was in the back room of the Louis Vuitton store. I was just praying, hands and knees, just hoping that they had stock. And there she comes out with the Louis Vuitton bag and the 100ml Pacific Chill inside. I paid the 550 Aussie. It ended up actually being 580 Aussie because of like the exchange rate or the tax in Dubai, something like that. And I did the unboxing right in my hotel just before my flight. This is one of the best summer... This is actually probably my favorite summer fragrance of all time because it is so fresh and uplifting, but it also is so sweet and fruity as well. It's pretty rare, in my opinion, that you find a fragrance that is perfect for summer, but is also sweet and fruity, but doesn't smell synthetic and annoying like something like Serge De Lutens. This smells natural and high quality, and it just ticks every box in what I'm looking for in a summer fragrance. Honestly, this might be biased, but right now I'm leaning towards just giving this a perfect 10 out of 10, but I'm gonna err on the side of kind of being safe and give this a 9.8 out of 10, and we'll see where that rating goes in the upcoming months. I don't know also any good dupes of this, whereas Louis Vuitton Imagination, even in Dubai from a variety of brands, I found so many great dupes. But with Pacific Chill, I didn't find any. So that kind of also justified my purchase. This and Angel Share, probably two of my best fragrance pickups in the past year. I love both of them so much. That is going to wrap it up on this video of essentially speed rating my most recent 20 fragrance pickups, the majority of which I got in Dubai. I hope you loved and enjoyed the video. Please keep in mind these are just basically first impressions on all of these fragrances because they are so new. So my rating of all of these could very well change either up or down over time. So take it kind of with a grain of salt. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe. Check the link in the description for all the best prices on these colognes, and have a blessed rest of your day. Mwah.